All right. Good evening, good evening, good evening to all of my families and students who are present. Welcome to tonight's masterclass. I got in, I signed. What's next? We're going to go ahead and jump start. This masterclass is being recorded. However, we are most likely
This is another
not
second.
going to
If I
share.
got in, I signed
I'm going
for it.
to let me mute someone that's in and they're not muted. So let me find that person and mute them so we can get started. We will most likely not share this recording, but I haven't decided yet. So we'll see. Let me go ahead and share my screen so we can go ahead and get started with the masterclass. I had it up, guess what? And then technology is trying to not be my friend tonight. So give me 1 second. It was up and rolling, and then I was trying to click and mute someone, and then I think I closed out the PowerPoint. So just give me a second. All right, so we are rolling now. I can make sure I share my screen. All right, you can. All right. Again, welcome to tonight's masterclass. I got in, I signed. What's next? We're not going to let technology keep us down. Today, I know you have questions, and guess what? You need answers. And so that's
Oh,
exactly what we're going to provide you with this evening. And that is the answers that you need
mm.
so that you have next steps to do what's necessary to get your student the most money, the best place they can call home for the next 4 years. So, who am I? For those of you, if this is your first time ever attending a master class with us, please type a 1 in the chat. And if you are a returning master class, always on our master classes, meaning put a 2 in the chat. Some housekeeping rules. Please make sure you mute and stay muted throughout the presentation so we can get a clear recording and so that people can respectively hear. And also, if you have any questions, do not hesitate. They are going to be answered at the end. If you don't want to lose your question and it's burning, drop it in the chat and I will go back and make sure I scroll up and down to answer all questions at the end during the Q&A segment. If you hold on to the end of this masterclass, I promise I have some answers, some handouts, and some sure things to help you navigate transitioning from high school to college. So who is Regina Robinson? I'm America's #1 college admissions advocate. I have been supporting families like yourself for the last 15 years. I am a former high school educator. I taught high school students in Prince George's County, Maryland, at Frederick Douglass High School, Dr. Enrique Wise High School, then in DC at Duke Ellington School of the Arts. And I am also a former professor of Trinity Washington University. And so I hail to you with all of those accolades. I am also a graduate of Bowie State University for my undergrad, Go Bulldogs. And I am a proud also graduate and alumni of Georgetown University for my master's degree, Go Georgetown Warriors. And so, as you can see, I have plenty of accolades, a huge bio, long list of things. However, I will not bore you with that tonight. If you are new to me, I promise you won't be new by the end of this masterclass, but you can also read a full bio on our website if you have not taken time to do so. You can find out all there is to know about me right on my website. So let's jump right in. We're not going to waste any time. I know the #1 question for most families is, listen, how's my students' tuition payments broken up? And how am I going to pay all of this money if you have not gotten a full ride? I'm sure you are wondering how you are going to navigate covering the cost of your child's education. Well, let's talk about that. Most colleges offer what we call, of course, full payment. That means you can pay whatever they say is the balance on your student's account. You can pay that. Or they have, some schools offer 10 payment plans, 3 payment plan, or 5 payment plan options, right? Now, with those payment plan options, some schools charge fees, charge sign-up fees, charge monthly fees along with that. And then some schools don't charge anything. So hopefully all of your schools don't charge anything. That's the hope for that, right? And then hopefully all of your schools offer 10 payment plans and not 5 or 3 only, because sometimes that can be a little bit more strenuous for a monthly payment for families to come up with. Remember, you must also file the FAFSA every year for your student as well. So not just for this year, but next year, the 3rd year, and the 4th year as well. Now, if you're taking out loans, you must sign your promissory note if you are going to take out loans. Also remind your student, at the end of the day, if they get over the amount in breaking up their tuition and their payments, right, and they're getting that funded money, make sure they understand that that refund check does not belong to them, because guess what? The school's going to give it to them. And they're going to ask them, do you want us to put it into your account, on your student account, or do you want us to give you a check? Make sure they don't put it on a student account. Get your check, and then you can give it back to the school the next year if you need that money, but don't leave it sitting on your student account. So please keep in mind all those things. So 10 payment plan or full payment. Some schools only offer 5 or 3. You must file your FAFSA every year. If you are taking out loans and you do not sign your promissory note, you will wind up having a balance on your account, and we don't want that. And remember, tell your children, refund checks don't belong to them. They go in the bank account. Here's what I always tell my families to do. Put the money in a savings account, let it draw interest, and then if you need it the next year, you now have that to use, because every year college tuition goes up. So make sure you have a cushion. All right, tuition payment plans. Some plans, again, charge an application fee or late fees. They help you reduce the need to borrow money to pay your bill. An example, if you owe $5,000 as a balance for your student to attend the college or university they have chosen, that will be broken up into 10 payments. So what does that mean? $500 a month for the next 10 months in lieu of all of your other bills. So of course, if you owe $10,000, that's $1,000 every month in lieu of all your other bills. So this is a way for you to look at it. Now, I always pause here and tell parents and students, please do not look to finance your child's education for 1 year or 1 semester. Please plan for all 4 years. Remember, I just said tuition goes up every year. So you need to be taking that into effect. So if this year you might only owe $5,000, next year you might owe $5,500 or $6,000. You need to equate for that. And so you want to be planning financially, not just for first year, but for all 4 years. How are student loans processed? I'm sure is your question if you're going to borrow student loans. Now, let me make this statement upfront. Student loans are not bad. Student loans are only bad when you borrow more than you need. For some people, student loans are necessary for you to help fund your child's education. So again, there is nothing wrong with student loans. There are 2 types of student loans: federal direct subsidized and unsubsidized loans. Let me tell you briefly what these mean, because I am sure each and every one of you saw this on your financial aid award letter for your student when you reviewed it. Subsidized loans does not accrue interest the entire time your child is in school. They are due 6 months after they graduate for repayment, but you do not have to pay interest while they're in college. Unsubsidized loans accrue interest the minute you sign your promissory note. After that, and they go into full effect, the entire time your child is in college for all 4 years, every year that you're borrowing unsubsidized, it is accruing interest. Here's what I always advise my families. Unsubsidized loans is usually for about $2,000. If you have $2,000 sitting in your savings account that you can borrow from yourself, it is easier to borrow it from yourself than it is for you to borrow it from the loan people, because then you owe it back to them with interest, and you do not want to pay interest when you could have simply borrowed it from yourself. So please keep that in mind. That's the unsubsidized loan that I am referring to. Remember, payment plans begin 6 months after graduating or leaving school. So if your student decides to go to school, family, and they only make it one semester and you took loans 6 months later, those loans are ready for repayment. There are flexible repayment terms of up to 10 to 25 years. There's various deferment income-driven repayment plans and loan forgiveness options available if you qualify. The way you get your student loans is through studentaid.gov. Remember, each year the interest rate is declared for loans of the academic year affected. So they change all the time. So please make sure, just because this year you had one interest rate, next year it could be a different interest rate. So please keep those things in mind. So again, there is nothing wrong with loans. There's only something wrong with them if you borrow more than you need. Here are the different ways loans are broken down for interest rate and for students. So direct, subsidized, and indirect for undergraduate is 5.5%. For direct unsubsidized loans for graduate or professionals, wouldn't be for your students right now, but for direct plus loans, which are loans for parents, I told you to subsidize and unsubsidized, those were for students. The direct plus loan for parents, which is 100% in your name, parents. Your students have no obligation to the loan. It is strictly your loan. And that is an 8.05% average. Some are less, some are higher. So please keep that in mind for parent plus loans. Now, I know you're saying, well, when do you repay those? Every loan is different, and it depends on where you borrow the parent plus loan from. The majority of the time, some of them have deferment options, and the majority of them are right now make every month payments. So please keep that in mind. Borrowing limits for dependent students. That means every student, parent, family on here, 9 times out of 10 are a dependent student. The only thing that makes a student independent if they're a ward of the court or if they're under guardianship of their grandparents. So the first year maximum for students to apply and get is $5,500. The majority of you, probably 99.9% of you, receive that on your financial aid award letter. $3,500 in subsidized. Remember, subsidized does not accrue interest. And $2,000, like I said, in unsubsidized. Borrow that from yourself out of your savings account and then be diligent about paying it back. Now, I always tell parents, if you have the power to be your own lender, then be your own lender. Borrow the money for your child's $5,000 balance, $6,000 balance from yourself. Now, let me say this clear. I'm not saying borrow that from your 401k plan. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if you have lump sums of money sitting somewhere and you rather borrow it from yourself and pay it back, then that's where I'm referring to. Second year, your student will be able to get up to $6,500. Third and final years, $7,500. The loan amount always has an origination fee minus from that, and then what your net proceeds would be. So keep that in mind as well. Federal Plus loans. This loan, again, parents, your name, a credit check is required. No debt to income perform, no cap or maximum amount. Now, there is a little bit for that depending on where you borrow. If you borrow from private banks, then no cap. But if you're borrowing federal loans, Parent Plus loans, there is a cap. They usually take it from what your out-of-cost pocket is for that particular institution. Repayment begins once the loan fully disperses to the school. Deferments are available depending on your bank. And again, you apply at studentaid.gov. How many credits should my student take freshman year? This is so important. One of the things for my mentees, I am diligent about staying on them with this and their families. Only 7% of, let me go back, because I'm diligent about, because I don't want to skip from this. I'm diligent about staying on them because to go to college and to earn your financial aid, you only need 12 college credits. And we'll see that on another slide coming up soon. But I wanted to put this fact in here. Only 7% of admitted students ask their college for additional funding. I asked that poll question. How many people ask their college for additional money? Some said yes, some said no. Now, here's the deal. You can't guarantee they're going to give you money, but you can guarantee they're not if you do not apply. If you do not ask. So again, you can't guarantee they're going to give you money, but you can guarantee they're not if you do not ask for more money. And so here's what I always say: if you're going to ask, know what you're asking for. Again, if you're going to ask, know the number that you are asking for. Now, maximum 15 credits. They only need 12 for financial aid. Balance, I said my mentees, we balance out their schedule to ensure they don't overextend themselves. College is not like high school. They need time to transition. Okay, so please make sure they take the necessary time to transition and get allow themselves to have momentum. And taking over 15 credits is not that. Now, will colleges allow them to take over 15 credits? Absolutely. But I am telling you, do not take more than 15 credits. You definitely don't want to stress yourself out. Now, question number 4, what's the best way to communicate with my students? College. FERPA form. Parents, the FERPA form is usually given to your students at an orientation, or you can simply ask for it and find out where it is on your college, on their college's website, and get the form completed. Now, I don't know about you parents, but when my daughter was on her way to college freshman year, this wasn't an option, because FERPA forms mean you can only get access to your students' grades, access to asking the school any questions if there's a FERPA form on file. If your student refuses to put a FERPA form on file, which I can't imagine any kid refusing, because guess what? They need your money to pay for college. So you need to make sure that FERPA form is on file, because without it, there is nothing you can do. But what I do also want to make sure you do is have conversations with your students. We do this with our mentees. We make sure they know how to advocate for themselves. And when they are in a situation that they can't advocate enough and they're not exactly sure, they know they can come to me for the verbiage to get exactly what they need to go and say to the student accounts, financial aid, their advisors, their professors, whoever. So parents, please make sure you work with your students on advocating for themselves. Now, what's the best way for my students to maximize their freshman year? Great question. It's important to get involved. However, it's even more important to balance the transition. Students, please, you're not in a race to be in every club and organization and activity. Balance yourself. Take time to learn the resources on campus, to learn where things are, and to get acclimated before you start joining everything, right? So make sure you take time. College is not the same as high school. You don't have anyone to wake you up, no one to tell you to go to class, no one to tell you to skip the party because you have a paper or a test, and no one to tell you you missing a class is like missing the semester. It's hard to catch back up. I told you I'm a former college professor, and when students would miss a class, they'd be like, oh my God, Ms. Robinson, where are we? One class, we cover almost a unit, a chapter. So that's not what they're used to in high school, but that's how it is in college. So you want to make sure your students are up to speed on staying involved, but most importantly, having a balance. Question number 6, what's the best way to ensure my student is prepared academically for college? Study groups, class buddy. My mentees know that every class they walk into, they should have a class buddy. Now, I'm not talking about picking the student who barely comes to class. That is not a class buddy. I'm not talking about picking the buddy who sits in the back of the classroom and you don't never see them do any work. That is not a class buddy. That is no value to you, and you're only going to be a value to them. So they are not a good class buddy. Having study groups are important, and that is key. Make sure you connect with study groups. Also, visiting professor office hours. If you don't come see us, we won't come see you. So please go to your office hours and meet with your professors. Here's what I know. Every student who came to see me during office hours, if they were on the borderline of an 89 and they need a 90 to cross into the A, and I remember them coming to office hours, I remember them participating in my class, I remember them being attentive, they got that point. So keep in mind, those little things matter when you need your professors the most. Now, remember to visit the tutoring and writing lab. You would rather go to the writing lab first than to wait and get a D on your first paper. Some of you, your students are so used to getting A's in their high school classes that they're going to get their first shell shock in college when they get a English paper back or a writing assignment back and it does not say an A and it maybe says a D or a C or an F. So please, the writing lab students know what these professors require. They know what these professors are looking for. So utilizing them, excuse me, is important. Tutoring. You would rather go get tutoring than get a bad grade, and it take you forever to bounce back from that bad grade. So students, please, the tutoring and the writing lab, I cannot stress enough, are key areas for you and being academically successful. Now, student to-dos. Now that you've said yes to your specific college or university, please remember to send a decline letter to all of your colleges that you will not be going to. So if you're planning to not attend this specific college or university and you want to keep an open relationship with them, you never know what college you're going to have to go back to if you decide one day you maybe want to transfer. So a decline letter is important. Checking your college online portal daily for updates. They will put things there before they email details. So please check your college online portal. If you're not sure if your college has an online portal, you should be calling tomorrow to find out or sending an email to someone. Finalize all paperwork so nothing is left undone, so there's no surprises in the end. Connect with your school on social media. Get inside the social media groups for your graduating class. Start networking with your peers, start connecting, start building relationships. And most importantly, you must send a final transcript to your college. So advise your guidance counselor before you leave the school, if you have not already left your high school, that you need a final transcript and let them know exactly where you have declared will be your college. Now, here's some real talk. I mean, open book, real talk. I put this in the presentation year after year because I believe this is necessary. Students, procrastination is the thief of success. If you procrastinate, it will steal your success as a college student. You cannot go to college procrastinating like you did in high school. Parents, a lot of you love to call your child's teachers and ask for a delay because their stomach was hurting. They had to go here, they had to do this, they had to do that. That does not work in college. Professors do not talk to you, nor do they answer your emails, nor do they even accept them. So please, students, do not procrastinate. 75% of professors do not give extra credit, nor do they extend deadlines. So please don't allow procrastination to steal your success. Focus. You need to be focused. I'm not telling you don't have fun, but I'm telling you to focus on the end goal. Why are you there? Remember your why for going to your college or your university. Professor relationship. I cannot stress enough how important it is to have a relationship with your professors. Why? They are in the same position. They've been in your shoes. They've walked your journey, maybe not the same journey, but they have the connections you need because you are trying to become the same field that they are in. So you should be connected to your professors. You should be asking your professors to be your mentors, okay? That's important. Deadlines. Please, your syllabus, when you receive them in every class on the first day of class, becomes your Bible. Put in every date into your cell phone with due dates and reminders because you don't want to miss a deadline. Your advisor on your college campus, I hate to say this, is a lot like your guidance counselor at your high school. You might know them and you might not. You might not meet them until it's almost time for you to graduate. So how about you make the initiative to find out before the end of your first semester, who is your advisor? Will he or she travel with you all 4 years? Or are they only your advisor and each year you get a different one? Excuse me. Please make sure you know. Campus life. Don't get so involved that you forget your why. Have fun, but remember why you are at college. Books, find the best way to purchase them or rent them so you're not spending unnecessary money, right? That's where connecting on social media is going to become important because a lot of students sell their books or rent out their books. Scholarships, parents, if you know your child was not doing scholarships in high school, you know good and well they're not going to do them in college. So parents, please stay on top of your student for continuously applying to scholarships. It's going to help them. Every year it will help decrease how much you pay out of pocket. And remember, scholarships that you receive for this freshman year are not all renewable. You need to take that into account when you are budgeting for your education for the 4 years. You need to ask if that scholarship is renewable or if it is not renewable. Drugs and alcohol exist on every college campus, now more than ever. Students, please be careful. I can't stress this enough. When you go to a party, because you're going to go. When you go to a party, never accept a drink from anyone, never pick up a drink that's already pre-poured, and never sit your drink down and then pick it back up. Date rape drugging on college campuses is at an all-time high. Please, young ladies, protect yourself, and young men, protect yourself. It is necessary. And so you want to make sure that you are committed to your safety at all times. Dating on campus, I always tell my students, and the females, let's start with you first. If they can't date you in the lobby or on the courtyard of the college campus, then honey, they can't date you. You should not be going to any young man's room because it is your word against theirs. And you never want to have yourself put into that position. Young men, don't let the young ladies come in your room either, because it is their word against your word. And you do not want to find yourself locked up because someone is saying you did X, Y, and Z when you didn't do anything, but you can't prove it because it's your word against their word. So students, please, dating, I'm not saying don't, I'm saying date safely on your college campus. Roommates. If you get a roommate, because this happens, and you are not getting along with your roommate or you feel afraid. One of my former mentees, she had a roommate who was making her immensely uncomfortable. And she wound up having a nervous breakdown and had to go in the hospital. We immediately, when she finally let me know this was going on, me and her grandmother, I immediately contacted the college, immediately got her moved into her own single room. Parents, your child's safety is of the utmost importance. Please, students, do not wait until it's too late to speak up. If your roommates or if you're on a no drug or alcohol campus and your roommates are doing drugs and alcohol, you can anonymously report them because you don't want your room to be checked. And then all of a sudden they act like they have amnesia and they don't want to commit that it's theirs. Now it's your word against theirs. And so you never mentioned it, you never reported it. So now you're fighting to make sure you can stay at your college or campus because you didn't speak up. So this is just real talk. I want to make sure you are armed and ready for what's to come, because again, the same thing you experience in college will not be like anything you have experienced in high school. It's at another level. I want to introduce to you one of our Student for Success shining stars. I'm always so proud of my mentees. I am still connected to majority of my students, and they're now grown. Some of them are married, they have children, but I take pride in, again, making sure they have everything they need to go to college and not survive, but thrive. Your students are not going off to college just so they can make it from semester to semester to semester. No, they're going there so they can thrive, so they can position themselves, so they can network with their professors, so they know how to make decisions and not make the wrong decisions. This is important. Mentorship is key. It's important for your students. And sometimes your students can't tell you what they want to tell you and they need someone else they can tell, which is why I love mentoring my students because they tell me stuff. Now, here's the deal. I always tell them, don't be telling me stuff that you know is bad that I can't go to your parents and tell because I'm telling. We're going to all have to have a circle meeting, but I'm telling. So I don't keep anything a secret that's detrimental to them. And so I wanted to take this opportunity to introduce David, if you are there, if you want to come off mute and just share your experience. David, I met in his junior year of high school, and David has been with me since. David is now going to finish out next year at Bowie State University. Go Bulldogs, my alumni. And so I am super proud of David. He will tell you about some of his crosses and barriers, but we have been riding this thing out, and I am always right there to cheer him on, to push him into his greatness, and to allow him to continue evolving and discovering himself more and more every time. So David, if you just want to share with the students as a college student now, just share what you want to kind of put forth out there for students and parents to kind of hear. I always think it's important for parents and students to hear from students.
Gotcha. Good evening, everybody. My name is David Black. I attend Bowie State University. And with the help of Miss Robinson, I've been able to stay in this game. It's not easy, as she said, coming out of high school. I used to always swear, I would finish college in 3.5 years. 3.5 years came and went, and but I'm still here. With the help of Miss Robinson, I've been able to navigate, college life inside and out, from the classroom experience to the personal experience. And like she said, work overload does exist. She's always made important to me, to have a balance, and remember why you're there, have fun, but you're there to excel and succeed. We have, as I transitioned into college, I became a part of her students who were in school. So every morning, we get these inspirational messages encouraging us, to stay in the game. We're not alone. Reach out to her. She's always a help. There's nothing I can't ask her about. Nothing I can't talk to her about. This overall college experience has been great under her tutelage. I will also say, how can I say it? You have resources at college, writing centers, advisors, mentors. Use your resources. Don't be too prideful. Don't be embarrassed. You feel like your fellow friends may not be using them and they're doing all fine. They're using them, or they want to use them. So go ahead and use your resources, enjoy it, and succeed and excel.
David, what's one thing that you would say was truly the biggest challenge for you because you had that transition, right? Oh, I want to finish in 3.5 years, but I didn't really finish in 3.5 years. What was that pivotal moment for you? Because I can remember us having a conversation, and this I think will help these students when they get to their college to be able to stay that course, right? I can remember you saying, well, Ms. Robinson, I just don't know. Like, I don't know what's next. And I remember saying, no. Let's take time to regroup. Let's take time to think these things through. Let's take these steps. You make this, you do this, and this, and then you report back to me and tell me what you think your next steps are. So what's that pivotal thing for you that you believe is necessary for other students to kind of hear you share as you're being vulnerable enough to share as your testimony?
Discipline. I'm a party animal. I like to be on the party scene. And there's always a weekend where maybe I had an assignment that wasn't due. There wasn't no party going on, but I'll procrastinate. Then the next weekend, it's a big old party going on, but I got work to be done. I can't go. So I would say discipline, knowing why you're there. When you're sitting around just doing nothing, work on your work. If you got an assignment that I heard Ms. Robinson say at the beginning of your semester, you get your syllabus is your Bible, and that's true. And your syllabus, every assignment that's due is going to be listed. You know when it's done. So if I got something that's due in 3 weeks, I can work on it a little bit every day up until that time. By that time that comes, that assignment is done instead of the day before, the day of, or the hour before, just that'll stress you out. That will send you into a panic that you don't even know what it feels like yet. College is totally different from high school. I thought I was the man coming in my very first grade. I said, it's not right. But it is what it is. And your professors, they can be, they're great mentors. They're there to see you succeed, but they want you to work for it. And you want to work for it. You want to feel good, about it. So I would definitely say discipline, discipline, discipline.
Awesome. Now, David, what's one thing that you would share with the parents and students now who are listening to say, okay, my child's going off to college. I got this. I'm a parent. They could talk to me about anything. We're going to roll through these 4 years. What did it mean for you being a part of our college transition mentor program and being one of my mentees? Things where you didn't go to Miss Black about because you could come to me. But well, what did that mean for you to have someone else to come to not have to go to mom or dad, or times just to be able to talk about whatever? What did that mean to you when you tell parents now that might be thinking that's not something their student might need? What did that mean for you as a student?
It means everything. You know, I had a sense of family, not only with Miss Robinson, but the other fellow students who were in the program, who might have been, you know, my friends from high school or new students that I met along the way. Knowing that there's other people in your same shoes and they're going through the same things in terms of work overload or relationships, relationships with professors and student life. It's the difference between, for me, it was the difference between, you know, to keep going and quitting. And I always chose to keep going because I just saw, you know, that person to my right and this person to my left can do it. I can do it too.
And one of the things I know for David and building relationships, so David recently went with me as one of my chaperones for our spring break college tour that we do every year. And so literally his relationships allowed us, so we dropped on Virginia State University's campus. So if we have any VSU future, I think they're Bears, Trojans, they're one of those. If we have any future VSU students, when we dropped on that campus, one of my one of my mentees was there and she met along with us. But one of David's former friends was there, met along with us, and come to find out, she's like, oh my God, Miss Robinson, you really look familiar. I'm like, oh, you look familiar as well. She goes, you know, I went on a college tour when I was in high school. Come to find out, she went on my college tour when she was in high school. And so it was just a whole full circle moment for all of us because the young lady who was my mentee that at VSU also went with her on that same college tour. So now they're connected and we left both of them at VSU. So now they have each other to pull on as they end their season at VSU. So that's a huge thing when you are building connections and when you are making that opportunity to colleges, again, not for you just to survive, but for you to thrive, for you to build networks that's going to become your net worth in the future, for you to make relationships that's going to keep you focused and move you to where you need to be. So I said in the very beginning, we're going to go through all of this, but I promise you, you are not alone in this. And so if you would allow me, I will tell you briefly about our college transition mentor program. You can scan this barcode and it will take you to that. But I want to just tell you some of the things that even David talked about that are in that program. The students have access to me to support them in their academic progress and advisement. What classes should they be taking? Making sure they take all the right courses. When David transferred from one school to the next, we went over his course descriptions. We went over what he needed to take, what he had already taken so he doesn't duplicate any classes. The importance of your course syllabus. If you have something in your syllabus that you don't understand that your professor has there, they don't seem to be able to give you clarity, you can send me a screenshot. I'm going to send you what to ask the professor because, of course, I've written syllabus, so I know how to interpret the syllabus. Getting involved in campus life, giving you advice on what programs to get in, not to get in, how to navigate living with someone other than you. One of my former mentees, as I shared before, she literally was at a college and it was devastating. She had 3 roommates. I tried to warn her up front, like, I don't know that you want to live with 3 people in a room. That is a lot. And you don't know these 2 other girls. Well, she went to an all-girls school. The 2 other young ladies loved to party. I think they just came just to spend their parents' money and waste their money. They never went to classes. They were drinking, smoking, keeping their boyfriends in the room. Now they already got 3 girls in the room and they're bringing in boys. Can you only imagine? And so literally that's how I told you can make anonymous notations. We went anonymously to the school so that she can immediately be removed. Why? Because her school was a drug and alcohol no drug, no alcohol school. So had something went down, they all would have went down. Because do you really think these two party girls were going to claim it was theirs? No, they were going to team up together, blame it on my mentee, and then that was going to be a disaster. So we got her moved, surviving home away from home, how to maximize your academics with tutoring, writing lab, and study groups, how to manage your time, how to stay organized in your schedule and still enjoy college life. We'll also work with them on utilizing resources available on campus, and most importantly, emotional stability, surviving the pressure of college life. You heard David say it, it's a lot of pressure. And some students don't want to come to you, parents, and they need someone else to come to. I literally had one of my mentees this year. She's at ODU, so shout out to ODU if we have any future ODU students. And she got overwhelmed. And she said, Ms. Robinson, I'm leaving. I'm not going back. I said, well, no, let's sit down and have a conversation about it. I need a list. I need a pros list and I need a cons list. And I need to be able to review it. And you need to be able to back up the pros and back up the cons. And then we'll discuss through it and we'll decide. She'll be going back to ODU in the fall. And she finished out strong this year. So parents, listen, these are things our students run into and they need that support. They need that stability and they need someone to be there with them to navigate that. I've had parents need to call colleges to get things in order. Two of my former mentees go to Howard University. One's graduated, one is still there. She's going to be coming up on her senior year. She just pledged Delta Sigma Theta. And so I'm so super proud of her. But I remember her getting ready to navigate through it, and then they started saying something about her account was messed up. Now, mind you, me and her mom had already went through before school started, making sure everything was in order. So when they start pulling this, listen, they're gonna call your kids to the office and your kids are not gonna know what to say. She went in there armed. Why? Because we taught her well. She had me on her phone. She had her earplugs in with me on the phone, and I'm listening to what they're saying, and I'm feeding her the responses to say while she's standing right in the Howard's office, because this is what they do to our children, because they're not sure of all these strenuous questions that they're going to be forced with. And so we need to make sure they're armed with that. So again, our college transition program runs from August through May of every college school year. And so they're with me every morning. They get an inspirational text message or voice recording from me, like you heard David say. They get unlimited access to me via text message. They get calls if they just let me know they need to talk, something's an emergency, they know they can reach out to me. Parents get access to say, okay, Ms. Robinson, I received this from my child's school and I don't know what this is. I need to send you a screenshot of this. I'm like, okay, send it to me. Let's figure it out. And so you have access to be able to allow them. So this is the QR code that you can scan. And we are also dropping in the chat the link to your actual access for you to be able to click on the college transition program. So my assistant will actually drop that link in so that you can click right on it, but you can also scan the QR code and it will take you right there. So again, you can scan the QR code, and then you can ask any questions you might have. And then the link is also in the feed. And I'm going to check back through the thread to see if I missed any questions. And so let me go back, make sure of what questions we have. And I'm going to start answering any questions. I have applied for numerous scholarships. How long does it take to get a response back? It depends on the scholarship organization. Some of them take almost to sometime in the summer before you hear. I will say definitely be checking your student spam box. A lot of times it is in your spam. Maybe a response, and then also continuously checking the mail. Can you put the transition barcode back up? Yes, it's up on the screen now. This is the barcode, and the link is in the chat thread also for you to click and go directly to our page. Do you have a verbiage template for the decline letter to send the universities? I usually, oh yeah, so if you're in, so Miss Adams, I already sent that that was attached to your monthly newsletter, your monthly correspondence email for May. So all you got to do is click on May's correspondence and it's there. Any questions? You can come off mute and ask a question if you would like, or you can type it in the chat. Please, any questions that you have, we are here to answer it. The last thing I want is for you to jump off and you're not sure of anything of how to answer anything college related. High school to college, I am here to answer any questions that you have. Again, we want to make sure you have what you need to be successful in this. I asked a poll question in the beginning, and then I started struggling with this whole poll thing, y'all. This, technology gets you every time. So I had a couple of more poll questions that I wanted to ask, and it just started acting crazy and wasn't allowing me to poll you. But I did ask in the poll if you are being informed from your school. So let me add this. Please, parents, every information session your child's college that you've committed to offers, be on that call. Do not miss it. Do not alternate from not showing up if they're doing it in person. When my child was preparing to go to college, I got on every call. And let me tell you what that meant. When it was time for me to ask for more money, I got it. My daughter went to McDaniel College, freshman, sophomore, and junior year. We paid $0. The school is a $65,000 a year school. And again, I repeat, we paid $0. And in fact, we got a refund check every semester. Never paid for books, none of that. And so you need to be tuned in. Students connect social media. Parents get on the social media groups for parents as well. They can become annoying, but just ignore the alerts and only pay attention to what you need to pay attention to. But be tuned in and don't be afraid to ask for money. I did the same masterclass last year, and one of my parents listened on this masterclass, plus listened to me saying it 100 times. She called back. Well, she was a previous parent for her first child, not her second one. So it was time for her second child. Her second child was a go-getter. First one wasn't that much of a go-getter, and that's why she needed me for the first one. She called her second child's school, asked for more money, and got an additional $5,000. Parents, if you don't ask, they definitely won't give it to you. But if you ask, there's a possibility you can get it, and all they can do is say no. But we in the business of declaring yeses, so put the ask out there and know what you are asking for. Okay, what is the best way to offset your net cost if you don't have the cash on hand? The only way is going to be scholarships, and the second only way is going to be loans, unless you have family who's investing into your child. And here's the danger of that. They might invest this year, but will they invest second, third, and fourth year? And will your financial situation change for you to be able to pay second, third, and fourth year? So please keep those things in mind. Parents, please don't go into debt trying to send your kids to the schools that they desire to attend instead of the school that's best cost effective for them. Because if it was on their list, they should have loved it, right? Because they put it on their list. And so please keep those things in mind. Miss Adams, Miss Trellis, you have your hand up. I'm not sure if that was from before of your question or you have a question now, because you can just pop off mute.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening. And thank you for this information. Yes. So I have a question. Actually, I have a couple of questions. I missed the topic, the FERPA. I'm not quite sure what it was. Are you able to tell me what that was again?
Yes, and this is Miss Adams, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool. So we're going to talk about it again too next week. But here's what the FERPA is for all other parents, so you're clear. If you do not have a FERPA on file, you cannot call the school, you cannot gain information, nor can you ever see your child's grades. So the FERPA is a protector of students to be able to keep their college education private. But let me say this loud and clear, public service announcement, parents, because I told y'all I got a college student too, and I'm only telling y'all what I do. There's no such thing as private when I'm paying, or when I got to facilitate and drop off to campus and pick back up. And so here's the deal. You get that FERPA form and you make sure your child signs it. Because if you don't, you'll be like one of my girlfriends. She did not get her child and force her child to sign that FERPA form, and her daughter kept telling her she was doing good in school. Next thing she knows, she was getting a bill saying, you owe us this money because your child's financial aid been dropped. And she never, they'll send you that with the bill you owe, but they won't tell you your child is failing classes and not going to classes. So with that FERPA form, it allows you to call financial aid, it allows you to call student accounts, and it allows you to get access to your child's grades.
Okay, so do we request that form from the school, or are the kids supposed to do that?
So
just-
you can look, you can reach out and ask them where's the FERPA form on the site. A lot of
Okay.
times they have it on their website, or
Mhm.
they do it in orientation. So every kid is going to go to orientation at their college, right?
Okay.
So
Yes,
a
ma'am.
lot of times, here's what will happen, parents. Hear this clear. They will tell the students at orientation, oh, we have the FERPA form if anyone wants it to sign. Now, what kid is running up to get that piece of paper to sign it? They're not even paying attention when the person is saying that. They either have sleep because they've been in all these workshops, or they're talking to the person next to them on the left or right, and they're not paying attention, and they're going to miss that. And now you have no FERPA on file. So the minute they touch down on the campus, you no longer have rights if that FERPA is not on file as a parent.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
And I had one other question. I know it's been so long for us, my husband and I, but we did get the FAFSA letter from my daughter's college,
Mhm.
and it had on there for her merit scholarship. So do we still, she have to sign the promissory note for that, or?
No, so if it's merit aid, when you start to go into your financial aid portal, so parents hear this as well. When you go into your financial, remember I said find out about your online portal. When you go into your financial aid portal, there's going to be spaces for you to say accept and decline. There will be places for you to accept that merit aid. If they need or require you to accept, you accepting the school might already completely accept the merit aid. Then there'll be places next to it for student loans, parent loans, and then it will say decline or accept. If you are not taking loans, remember to decline. Do not let your kid go on these portals on the financial side alone and they start clicking buttons or they miss out on something. There's also what they call this video that you need to watch, even if you take or don't take loans. You need to watch this video and then decline the loans, right? When my daughter transferred from McDaniel to Bowie, that was one thing that kept being left off. And we kept saying, what is going on with her financial aid? And then we finally got an advisor that worked closely with us and was like, oh, it's an information you forgot to select. Hear the video and then you decline, but you didn't watch the video. So they go hand in hand. So please keep in mind, please pay attention to these portals, okay? They are important in every email the school sends out. Parents, please don't be a skim reader. This is not the time to be skimming through stuff. This is the time to be thoroughly reading from beginning to end, and do not leave it all up to your child. But what I do highly recommend, and I tell my parents this all the time, you read it and then you make your child read it too, because they need to learn to read, because you're not with them at college and you don't want them skimming important emails that come to them on their college email, because you won't have access to that unless you're like me and my daughter knew I had access to her college email. It stayed open on my computer because I didn't want her to miss a beat. One time she wasn't paying attention and a scholarship dropped in her email. I said, girl, did you see you got that scholarship email? She told me, no, Ma, I didn't see that. Yeah, I bet you didn't. I did. Now get it done, right? So we got to stay on top of them because they miss important stuff, and that's free money. I don't know about you. I wanted all the free money they were given, and I'm sure you do too.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Miss Trellis Adams is one of my shining star parents. Her daughter has been with me. Adriana, I'm so proud of her. She has been with me since 10th grade. 10th grade, I think she went on the college tour with me, Miss Adams, am I right?
Yes, ma'am. She
Yes.
started with you with the college tour and became one of your shining stars. And
Yes.
now she's graduating high school,
Yay!
getting ready to go to North Carolina A&T.
Yes. Oh, and so by the way, if you're still here, drop in the chat what college your child is attending in the fall. So if you would drop that in the chat, I would love to see all the different schools your kids are going to be attending in the fall. So if you would type that in there, where they'll be going: San Francisco State University. Oh, good, because California isn't always easy to get into. So kudos, because they only take a few students. Indiana from out of state, Indiana University of Pennsylvania, Indiana University of Pennsylvania. Okay, congratulations. Where else? Come on, we got 14 people on here. No, 13 besides me and my team. North Carolina A&T, yes. Winston-Salem, yes. Susquehanna Townsend, okay. North Carolina Central, okay. All grade schools, ODU, yes. So see, we had an OD parent on. Let's see, where else? More North Carolina Centrals, yes, more. We got a lot of North Carolina Central, Townsend. All right, NCU parents, connect in the chat. So stuff start going on. Listen, that's the power of these master classes. Network right here inside the circle with each other. You know, because you might have found something out that the other parent didn't know, and you might know something that the other parent didn't know. It's great to connect. That's why I say getting on those parent meetings is awesome. It's great to connect. It's necessary, right? Because that's when people that's where you can find out more information. That's where you can get clarity around things. So again, I had a few more poll questions, but I couldn't drop them. I don't know how to get this thing to work correctly. So this was, Jamie, if you can send me the poll questions directly to me in the chat, then I can just ask them and ask the parents to put the answers in the chat. But first and foremost, if this masterclass was informative to you, please drop in the chat a word that describes how you feel now after being on the masterclass. And also, if you believe, so first question is, if this masterclass was an asset to you, please drop a yes or a word to describe what you felt, whether it was informative, whether it was enlightening, whether it gave you more insight. Please drop a word in the chat. Also, oh, someone said, thank you. This is stressful. Absolutely. And that's why we do this, to try and make sure we can get to you all the answers you need, because sometimes the schools doesn't quite deliver it the way it needs to be delivered. And so we want to try, I want to try and deliver it to you in the most plain way as possible, so that you can go after it. I even think Miss Martin is on here. I remember Miss Martin's first daughter, she's going on her second daughter. Her first daughter is at Georgia State University. She's like, Miss Robinson, I need them to give some more money. I said, okay, I sent her some verbiage and said, here's the letter, put together a hardship letter, send it to the school and ask for more money. Now her second baby's going off to college, and I believe she's going off debt-free. And so that is super cool. And so we're excited because then now they got whatever they had with the first one, which was almost a lot of money in aid as well. And then now they're going to get the second one and not have to pay. So that's a blessing.
Amen.
Okay, so here's my, oh, you're welcome, Nikki, as always. Here's another question for our poll. How confident do you feel now about navigating the challenges of college after attending this masterclass? Still not confident, confident, very confident, or more confident? What would be your word? You feel confident more than you were before you got on, still not as confident, or very confident, or more confident? Drop words for that in there. And then if you just, should we mail a letter or send an email regarding more financial aid? You have to, so the question was, should we mail an email? Should we mail a letter or email? You have to contact the school, because the school has specific ways for you to ask for more money. Some is what they call a, why am I getting brain fart for that? It's an appeal letter. So they have an appeal. Some will say you have to put an appeal letter. Some of them have a specific format. Some of them have specific ways you have to put it in. So if they have an appeal process, you want to know what that process is, and you want to put in for that process. So please, by all means, put in for the appeal process if they have it. You need to call and ask for that if they have it. Now, one final ask. How many of you believe that your student needs a mentor while they are in college, or you are interested in them having a mentor while they are in college? If you feel they need, or you are thinking about it or interested, put a 1. If you feel they won't need and they're gonna be good on their own, put a 2. So a 1 if you feel they would need and you're thinking about it, put a 1. If you feel like they'll be okay on their own, I'm not going to be upset. That doesn't bother me. I'm okay with that. Put a 2. And then I will just say for you to please stick to them like glue. This first year is going to be not only mental health wise, struggle-wise, overwhelm-wise, anxiety-wise, all of the above. And so please, if you do not enroll them in the College Transition Mentor Program, you are going to have to wear the mother-father hat and the mentor hat. Your child will need it. I don't know how many times parents call me afterwards and be like, Ms. Robinson, oh my God, we are only 2 months into school and my child is crashing. Can we please get in? Because we closed the doors. Can we please get in? And I have to always feel so sad and let them in. But here's the deal. Or I have parents who will call me back and say, I don't know why I didn't do it, because now they didn't do well first semester. I don't even know if they can go back second semester because they're taking all of their financial aid. And I don't want that for any student, which is why I created this mentor program. I only wish that they had mentors when I was in college. I might not have went to school freshman year and been that student when they said in orientation, look to the right and look to the left. Someone won't be here when you look next year. And that was me. So the person who was on my left and right never saw me the next year because I flunked out, because I didn't have anyone to help me. I didn't have anyone to steer me in the right direction. I didn't have anyone to encourage me. I was a first generation college student. My mom did her best to advise me on how to do this thing called college. So I went to a community college. I had to get my grades up. Then I went back to college. So I told y'all I'm a graduate of Bowie State University. That is not where I spent my college life. I went to Delaware State University for my first 2 years of college, for the 2 years of college that I did at a 4-year institution. But listen, I always tell my students, it's not how you start, but it's how you finish. So I went back to Del State after going to community college. I made the dean's list both semesters. Why? I understood the power back then of me owning, being responsible for me. I do this because I don't know that other kids have that in them, and I don't want them to learn the hard way. I don't want another kid to go 9 years to get their undergrad degree. Why? Which is why I stay on David all the time, right? That's nothing wrong with me taking 9 years to get my undergrad, because guess what? I got it. And then now I have my master's too, but I want to be an advocate for other students, and I have to take that journey and have that duration so that they can go in 4 years and be successful, or go in 5 years and complete and come out with maybe their master's. That's my goal for being and having this mentorship. I want every student to know that college is not for you to be there to barely make it. You are there to thrive, so that you're set up. So in 4 years, you can get back your return on investment for the time you spent there, not just in money, but in your career. I would like to know if you could help me out with requesting more funds from my selected college. You can go on our website, and it's a button that says make a decision session. It is a cost, but you can click that make a decision session, and then we can reach out to that particular school that you have chosen to find out what their process is and follow their process. So if their process is a letter, then a letter is what we will put together. If their process is a form, then the form is what we will complete together. So yes, I can do that. All right, any final questions? I don't want to hold you guys much longer. So any final questions? And so again, the link is in the feed. The QR code is there. Registration for the College Transition Program will remain open until July. We kickstart in August, and we go from August to May. And so from August to May, your students have me. The minute you register, of course, if you register tonight or tomorrow, you already have access to start asking me questions, right? That's the power of getting in early, but it doesn't kickstart where I'm reaching out to your students and they're connected to their cohort and their mentorship cohort until August. But again, you can start asking me questions now. You are welcome. You are welcome. You are welcome. Jama, can you drop her the link from the Book Now page that says make a decision, not the actual scholarship membership? Oh, but parents, please, Jama, drop in the chat the scholarship. So parents, let me say this again. Let me say this. If you have any balance, and I mean any balance on your child's account. Now, if you're going to join the College Transition Program, you don't need this. But if you are not, you should be joining our scholarship membership. We send out scholarships every month, and there's a column for college students. Parents, please don't stop applying for scholarships. Every year, cost goes up. You need the money to offset your child's education. Otherwise, you will keep paying out of pocket. Please don't let that be you. All right. Connect with us socially on all social media. We would love to connect with you. I share college bound tips. I share college things that you're going to need. In August, it'll be all about students heading off to college. We'll have all that different information on there, videos, encouragement, inspiration, all of that. But again, if you are not joining the college transition program, Jama dropped the link for the scholarship membership. Please join that scholarship membership. You spend $19.97 a month at Starbucks and more. This is going to give you back a return on that investment. So please join the scholarship membership. If not, I look forward to seeing all the families in the college transition program. I look forward to mentoring not only your students, but being your trusted ally in your family as well. So stay tuned. You'll get replay emails. I don't know if I'm going to send this out as a replay. I will decide that overnight kind of thing. But you will get an email with a thank you email for attending the masterclass. And it will have the link to the college transition program again in that email. And so again, I look forward to each and every one of you joining us and your families. Have an amazing evening. And thank you so much for joining me here for tonight's masterclass. I got in, I signed. Now what's next? Until next time.